10 of us went in and only 3 came out. We prepared as much as we could. Jenny was constantly breeding for the best stats, so much that her stimberry shakes would keep her up for 30 hours. I told Grim not to do it, but Jenny could be like a Kentro. Once those spikes are in, they're not coming out. We had to build a whole new water intake and reservoir into the breeding pen, just to stop her from dehydrating and passing out. Again. It got so bad that we would have to slip narcotics into her drinks, just to make sure she slept. I took over for breeding when she slept, but the endless naming conventions, stat notes strewn around her desk were so confusing that I could barely keep up. The world seemed slower in the breeding pen, surrounded by babies, blood from birth, and the too soon end of life. You could do something and it not quite happen as soon as you would expect. Thankfully, the tech generator would keep the hatchery and nanny going, even if Jenny insisted on imprinting them all herself. I can't even begin to think about the screams, desperate cries and screeches from the babies dying. The sound of gunshots would be mixed in between and fill the air with the cacophony of death and disappointment. It was constant. Day and night it would go on and on. The pen had the stench of blood that wouldn't leave you for days. I swear Jenny was distributing her feces around the pen just so she wouldn't have to leave to use the toilet. Another team took out the Manus for beacon patrol to scout for the best gear and blueprints from the Overseer. It was the only time, other than Jenny's drug-induced rest, that would relieve the tribe from the constant noise that was her project. It got so bad that we all became mana riders just to get some release. Eventually, we were ready. Or at least, so we thought. Grim, Chat, and I had mind-wiped each other to make the best gear ever possible. Sammy was on ammo and tribute duty. He was slowly going insane. Day after day, Sammy worked on grinding the gunpowder, crafting the shells for ammo, and cleaning the guns. We laughed once 2 vaults were full of shotgun ammo. That was the last time we laughed, actually. There's nothing to laugh about now that we know what we know. After 3 long, arduous months, we packed our armor, our suits, and our weapons, ready to transfer to this new land full of monsters. Once we got there, we got ready. We had allied with the tribe of Sand, who we always fought the Guardians with back on our homeworld. There were so many Dragon, Megapithecus, and Broodmother trophies between us, but they got all taken down after yesterday to mourn the losses. So there we were, a Yudi bred in stamina and health for courage, Daedon in health for food for healing, and the Hercules Rex army that Jenny had bred. They were the strongest Rexes ever seen. Nothing could beat them. Jenny even got our tribe colors on them. Red scales and a yellow underbelly. They definitely looked the part. Their seismic roar would put even the fear of the Overseer into everything. Even Gigas. Jenny even got the Sand Tribe colors on some, and would trade some of the Rexes for gear. Looking back, we always thought, how hard can this be? We had destroyed every Alpha Guardian every week until we'd found the element veins on the Extinction World. We tamed every Titan twice, even killed the King Titan together. We were an unstoppable force. But this time, we found the immovable object. So there we were, all souped up, hordes of ammo and copies of the best shotgun that we could make, along with enough meat to keep the Daedon fed. The Sand Tribe even supplied some of the strongest Rex saddles we had ever seen. We'd upload the tributes to the obelisk, and the familiar sounds of the bubble started. As the teleporter descended upon our most developed and strongest army, Jenny noticed a small torn piece of paper under her Rex's foot. It was at this moment that the color drained from her face. The sweat started dripping from her brow, and she was shaking even more than usual. We didn't survive, and neither will you. That's all it said. Just 7 words on a scrap of paper soaked in blood that had dried to form stains that were crisp and thick. This is bad. This feels bad, Mangus. This is going to go bad. Jenny stared right at me, the whites of her eyes going red from tears. Just before the dome closed, she ran out of the obelisk and left us behind. Her Rex followed her. She forgot to whistle it to stop. Well, half of her Rex followed her. The other half was still with us, as the dome sliced it in two without a moment's notice. The last thing we saw was Jenny mouthing, "I'm sorry," and the blood from her Rex doused the floor in a pool of warm, red liquid. Grim just looked sad. I knew it. I told you. I fucking told you, didn't I, Mangus? The Sand Tribe could barely speak our language. All they saw was Jenny frantically screaming and running away, with Grim screaming at panic at me. Panic ensued as we teleported. Now everyone was shouting. But we had to get ready. We couldn't walk in and kill it like on our world. We knew this was worse. Once the broodmother appeared, the shouting stopped and we took our formation. Something seemed different. The intelligence that we gathered couldn't prepare us for this. Drones can't tell you. They can't show you the aura of power that follows this guardian. It can't show you the overwhelming strength that this one had. And a drone definitely couldn't give us the same sense of impending doom that we all felt. You don't need to say anything to anyone when that happens. Those feelings are universal to all humans, dinos, creatures, birds, and fish alike. It was like being a coal when they see a Hesperornis approaching. You knew what was going to happen, and you had 2 responses: fight or flight. And in this case, we couldn't run. We all felt it. We all knew the risk, but this was the only thing we could do. Fight. Even if we had 1 less tribe member and 1 less Rex. This new land, this painful, destructive, desolate land, wiped us out and destroyed everything that we spent months to create. The shotguns were useless. They only worked on the Uranios, and even then it took more bullets than usual. The Rexes couldn't kill it in time. The teleporter was already making us realize our failure. The Daedon couldn't heal fast enough. Rexes were being shred by the enormous fangs of the broodmother, followed by the webs spun by her babies. Even their bites were enough to knock out Hagel, the Sand Tribe's leader. So many of us were overrun by our babies, their legs crawling up the Rexes, chomping down with their venomous attacks. I can't even begin to explain how it feels to lose your allies, your pets, your friends, to something that you've killed over and over again. It's like an Alpha Carno rampaging through the thatch hut that is your heart, broken beyond all repair. Jenny was there to welcome me and 2 of the Sand survivors as we teleported back to the obelisk. My armor was dissolved by the broodmother's acid. My Rex took the brunt of it, though. Its jaw fell to the floor as the acid took away the skin, then the muscle, and then the bone. It was at least 10 times stronger than the broodmother back at our homeworld. My arm was barely hanging on. I didn't even think medical brews could save me. Everything was gone. Everything apart from the scars of our first Guardian fight. We lost. Our ears were ringing from the shrill cries of joy from the broodmother and her children. The only thing I can think about now is to go back and kill her. I want my revenge. All we can do now is get stronger. All we can do now is keep fighting. That place was so much worse, so much more threatening and unforgiving. It was so much more dangerous. The broodmother from that world took everything we held dear. But we will go back. and we will kill her.